In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Moon Dust palette from Urban Decay. Now, they launched two versions, and this is the Galactic Cowgirl version. They have not released the second one yet in the US. It is at least showing on Sephora, but it's showing as sold out, and I do plan on picking that one up when it is available, so stay tuned for a video with that one. But in this video, I'm going to be doing eye swatches, and then I will be turning the last two eye swatches into eye looks. And I do have one of the shades as a single, the shade Cosmic, so I'm going to be showing you a comparison because I think everyone is curious if the version that's in the palette is different from the single shadows. So let's get right into it. I did prime with the soft ochre paint pot from MAC. So I'm going to first swatch Cowgirl Rider, and I'm just going to be using my finger. I'm not going to be using any sort of tacky primer. These kinds of formulas do not tend to crease on me at all because they are so dry. However, I might get some fallout sometimes just because they are so sparkly, and the way my hood just rubs against the top of my lid, it is very likely. So again, here's Cowgirl Rider. That is so pretty, very shiny. Definitely have some fallout from that. So that would be another reason to use a tacky primer, is to avoid any fallout, but that is so pretty. It's basically a bronze base with lots of bronzy gold sparkles throughout it. Taking Emo Cowboy on the other eye, and I'm just pressing it into my lid, and I'm bringing it up a little bit. So this is kind of just one layer, which is pretty sheer, but you still see that icy blueness of it. And then I'm gonna put on a little bit more, and I'm gonna kind of swipe it on. And that is so wet. Look at that. That looks so beautiful. And again, I had a little bit of fallout. Probably would use these before doing your base, but that is so pretty. Onto the last two eye swatches that I'm actually going to be turning into looks. Again, I prime with the soft ochre paint pot from MAC. And I'm just going to take Cowgirl Warrior on this eye. Look how shiny. I really feel like they knocked these out of the park. I mean, look at that. It's so pretty. There's just so many flecks. It's almost like the flecks are suspended in this base. They're sitting on top is what it looks like, or what it seems like to me. So I'm just going to tap it all over. And that in itself is like a one and done look. Cosmic Cowgirl. Cannot wait to put this one on. Oh yes. It is a little bit silvery because it is so white. So I feel like it's looking a little silvery. I'm just going to add on a little bit more. But again, very wet looking. Dipping for the mattes, I'm going to dip into the Vizier Neutral Mattes palette, and I'm going to go in with the darkest matte brown right here. And because I feel like this shade already has like a really nice base to it, I'm not going to add any mattes in the crease. I feel like we already kind of have that effect, so I'm just going to actually do an eyeshadow wing, which is probably, this is very much the kind of look I would do if I was like going into the office, I was going out or something. Just in general, I love doing this kind of look. Just a matte in the crease, a shimmer on the lid, and an eyeshadow wing. Now, because I already have these on and they're not glued down, I am having quite a bit of fallout. This is why I usually never work this way, where I put down a shimmer and then do the mattes, because I'm just going to be blending away the shimmer. But in this case, I really wanted to just get these into looks. But here's the finished look. I mean, two shadows, and you're done. If you have hooded lids, again, I would recommend some sort of a tacky primer just to help let this adhere so that you don't get fallout throughout the day. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe away the crease just a little bit, so I'm not just like blending sparkles all down my face. But I do want to add a matte in the crease. Again, not ideal, but we'll make it happen. I'll just add more shimmer if I need to. I'm going into Neutral Mattes palette from Vizier, and I'm going to be grabbing this taupey shade. And I'm just going to start bringing that kind of where my crease is and just kind of mapping it out, and then I'm going to blend. But again, I have the sparkles kind of blending throughout. So just, again, this is not the ideal formula to work backwards in, but blending it upwards. This is just going to be like a super, super sparkly kind of look. But I'm actually surprised how well this is blending despite all the sparkles. And I'm just going to take it on the outer edge as well. And I'm taking just a clean blending brush, and I'm actually able to just flick away most of these sparkles here. And I'm just going to go back in with the matte again. And then I'm going to go back in with Cosmic Cowgirl, and I'm just going to tap it back on because some of it did get blended away. So just adding it a little bit more. And then I'm also going to bring a little bit of this just to connect under my lower lash line. Look at all this fallout. And here's the second finished look. Palette, first and foremost, do your eye look before you do your base. And if you're prone to getting fallout, and even if you're not prone to getting fallout, definitely try it out with some sort of a tacky primer that will dry down to help these adhere and possibly help you with fallout during application as well. If I was wearing these looks all day, I would have definitely used some sort of a tacky primer. Because of my hooded eyelids, I do get fallout, especially with these kinds of formulas that have lots of sparkles throughout it, and they're very finely milled. I think this was such a great idea for Urban Decay to do, and I'm glad to see that there's two palettes. I will have to see another one that has more colorful shades. I know they have quite a bit of shades in this range. I do have the shade Solstice as well, and Space Cowboy, which I believe Space Cowboy is actually in the other palette, so I will do the swatch comparison when I get that palette. This palette is $39, and I think it is 100% worth it if you've ever wanted to try this formula, because these are, I believe, $24 each, which I think is so much. You get a little bit less product, but let's be honest, who's really finishing this entire shadow anyway? I think for the value, you get 4 shades. I think my favorite shade from here is Cowgirl Warrior. Like, it just looks so wet on the lid, and it's so flattering, and none of these accentuate any skin texture. They're very smooth, but they're very dry, and the sparkles, like I said, are almost like suspended in it, so they're kind of sitting on top, which again is probably why there's so much fallout. I really like the texture of these. They feel really smooth to the touch. They feel a little bit dry, but they don't feel as dry and as hard pressed as actually Cosmic. So when I did the comparison swatch with these, I noticed that this one feels harder pressed, and just the texture is a little bit different, and this one is definitely shinier. But I would not say if you already have this shade to get this palette just for that shade because it's shinier, but I could definitely see there's a textural difference, and I like this one better. So whatever's happening in this palette, I much prefer it. I did get this, I believe, 10-15% off on their website, which I think makes it even more worth it. And there's going to be plenty of sales coming up. The Sephora sale, hopefully this palette and the other will be up on Sephora by then, but especially worth it on sale if you're looking for something like this. Of course, don't be buying this if you're not looking to add something like this to your collection, or if you already have all of these shades in the single form. And I do plan on doing some sort of like comparison video between some of these kinds of textures and some others from some other brands like Moira, Ulta, etc. So stay tuned for that. But I am waiting for the other palette to finally be available on Sephora so I can grab it, because I've been literally stalking Sephora, Ulta, and the Urban Decay website to see if it's in stock yet, because I want it so bad, and I will be doing eye swatches and looks with that palette as well. So definitely make sure you're subscribed. And that's everything for this video. I really hope that it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you picked this palette up or if you plan on it. I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.